Schoology, show you what the kids see, show you what you can see, and then how you can interpret what's overdue, what's not, and where to see grades. We'll also take you out into ConnectEd, which is our digital platform for all of our reading and our math series. And that is a way for your child to access math and reading textbooks at home and some review and things like that. So hopefully our cutoff is 6:30, but if we finish a little bit early, we'll answer questions along the way or wait till questions at the end. That's completely up to you. If I go too fast, please tell me. I have a tendency to start presenting and I'm talking really fast, and next thing I know, nobody can keep up with me up here. People are frustrated. So if I start talking too fast, just slow me down. Hello, come on in. If you want to sign into Schoology, that will get us started, okay? So this is my teacher side, which looks very different from the kids side. This is everything. Our kids use Schoology pretty much every day. Today was the exception in my classroom. I had a 6th grader come in to borrow some computers at 2:30, and I hadn't even unlocked my computer cabinet. That's how engrossed we were in the project that we were doing today. We were paper penciling it today. Doesn't happen very often. But for the reading and language arts, on a typical basis, they will be using that daily to access whether it is assignments or resources. Those are in there. Mrs. Beck also uses a lot for science and social studies, where she will post links or review quizzes. She will post in maybe videos and places that they can go to get additional information for whatever it may be that they're working on or that we're working on in class. We started working on talking about natural disasters and reading this week, and Mrs. Beck showed me this morning that she had posted some extra information in her Schoology course for social studies, so they can go in and look at some pretty cool natural disaster stuff in there as well. So all 3 of us use this, and the district decided this year this is going to be our main means of communication between the parents in the school and the parents in the district. So like you can see here, Candace LeDuc posted to the school district a reminder about tomorrow's early release and the schedule and all of that. So I see all of this stuff, and you should be able to see over on recent activity, because I think when you guys log in, it takes you to your course dashboard, right? And you will not be able to see any courses as a parent because, well, you're not here every day, so there are no courses for you. And so if you click on recent activity, that's where you can see updates that we have posted within our courses, or things that Candace LeDuc has posted to the district as well, and the things that Mrs. Wade has posted just within the building. There were some reminders about walkathon and things like that have been coming out this week as well. So if you go to your student account, and to do that you go up to your name up here at the top, and then go down to your student's name. It'll be right under yours. From there, you should be able to see your child's courses. Yes? Maybe? Let me log in. I have a demo parent account. Now this one will not show any courses because, so when you log in as yourself, it brings you here. There is the calendar on the right. Oops, I'm clicking on things I shouldn't be. I apologize for that. The calendar on the right here does show upcoming events that are on the district calendar. You would see events on our school calendar, and you may even see assignment due dates. Especially if you go under the student, it will have assignment due dates on there as well. And it will just be under the date, and then it would have the time. If, that's not what I did, I can't touch that. If, as a student, there are overdue assignments, so you should be able to see recent grades logged in as your student. Most of the assignments that we put in for them, there are 3 different types. So we have actual assignments. This is a place where we would post a way for them to turn in something digitally. So if they're doing an assignment in Google and we wanted them to turn in their document, that would be under an assignment. And there or may not be grades in there because it depends on whether the teacher decides to grade the Google assignment within Schoology, or if it is a group project, then they would probably just put the grade in PowerSchool. So you would see that in two different places. Remember, PowerSchool is the main stopping ground for grades. You will see grades in Schoology, but there's additional stuff as well that we add into PowerSchool. So that's your one-stop shop for grades. And then you'll see everything else in here. Tests and quizzes are not necessarily tests or quizzes. Whenever we put in assignments that we want to be self-checking, we have to, the way the program is designed, we have to put them in as a test or a quiz. And then that allows us to put in the questions with multiple choice, and then the program will automatically grade those assignments for us. The only way that it will actually be a test is if it's labeled test. For reading, I label them a number, point something, so like last week it was like 1.4 or 1.5, and then selection test. So that's the way you will know if it's a test or not. The assignments that we give them throughout the week, most of the time they have multiple attempts at those. So I may give them 5 tries at that to get the highest grade they can. If they're getting 4 out of 10 and 6 out of 10 and 3 out of 10 and 7 out of 10 or whatever, it will take their highest score, and that is what will go in the grade book. So they usually have at least 5 tries. If I'm noticing there's a student who's just at the end of that 5 tries, they're like, I can't do it anymore, and I only got 2 out of 10. I sit down and talk to them, and then I extend the amount of tries so that they can get in and do it again to increase that grade. Our goal is not to trick them, obviously. We want them to do the best they can, and if they're truly not understanding, we're gonna give them the opportunity to fix that, and we talked about that at Parent Night as well. So under tests and quizzes, that will be those regular assignments. Discussions are a way for us to let the kids almost have like a quote-unquote chat where we can post a question or a problem or whatever, and the kids can comment on that, kind of like on Facebook when we comment on each other's stuff. It grows into a feed like that. They post comments, they can like the comment, they can reply to the comments and ask questions. And we're still working on the etiquette that goes along with replying to discussion posts because our kids just don't know that yet. That's not something that they're used to doing. They're used to putting awesome with 12 exclamation points. So we're working on that as well, just that etiquette. And sometimes we will grade those, sometimes we will not. The only time we grade those is like they've been working on paragraph of the week, so extending those writing skills. And I put those in Schoology as discussion posts because that's really the only way I can put that in there easily. And then they have been told the first couple, they were lots and lots of replies and people replying but not actually posting. So they are no longer allowed to reply to each other's paragraphs. They can like them, but that's about it. So those are graded, and so that you may see a grade coming in with that. Otherwise, that's where you will see recent grades. If they have overdue assignments, it will say right under recent grades, it will say overdue, and it will have the assignments that are overdue. If there's none there, they don't have any overdue assignments in Schoology, but they're gonna be right there under the student account. You may be able to see them on the parent account. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think you can though. I think you actually have to go into their student side of it and look at it. And then the upcoming calendar would go under that. You can click on calendar, and I believe that should show whenever we do our assignments and we put a due date, that adds it to the calendar. And so then you can easily go in and click on the assignment, say, click on the essay 3, that looks like that's an assignment. Yeah. Oh no, it's not gonna work. Can you guys click on anything? Is it just me? Okay. I'm like, please work.
I see 5th grade math, section 13.
Okay. So that from there, I believe you can click on the assignments as well. Yes?
I got a stupid question.
No stupid questions.
I don't use an Apple, so how do you get the sidebar, the scroll bar to show? It's like hidden.
If you take 2 fingers on the trackpad and slide them up and down, you'll be able to scroll.
That's not a stupid question. I was
No, it's the same thing. Whenever Apple updated their software, they hid the scroll bar.
Yeah.
And so it's a preference we would have to go in and select. So our kids just know you scroll with 2 fingers up and down. And if you go left to right, it may take your browser back, like clicking the back button. So just be aware if it gets crazy on you, just let us know. We'll come help you. Not stupid at all. So, if, I think there is, wasn't there in here last night? Okay, so if you were to click on, like I just clicked on graded tests and quizzes, and it pulled up this Unit 4 assessment. So this teacher, this is a demo account, but this teacher labeled it assessment instead of test. But you can see off to the side here, this is the score for that assignment. If you click on the actual assessment, thank you, Ms. Kuzak, for being my mouse. I know, but you're awesome.
Oh, okay.
It will show them how many times they submitted it, when they started it, when they completed it, how long they worked on the assignment. So if this says something like 45 seconds, that may be cause for concern, right? The score that they received, and you can click on View Assessment and see exactly what they did on that test. So for example, this one, the green check mark with the green box around it means that answer was correct, no problem. If it's red in the box, then they missed that one, but this shows the correct answer out next to it. I am working really hard on getting better at making it to where they can view what they did. We had some problems in the past of the students went, hey, if I finish this assignment and I don't do very good, it's going to show me the correct answers, and I can write those down on a piece of paper and go back and put them in. So, yeah, these kids are smart. They figured it out, right? So on the assessments, I'm working on making it to where they can actually see, because they can only take the test once, is all it allows them in there. But making it to where they can go back in and check and see, okay, what did I get wrong? If I got 12 out of 13, which question did I miss? If you want to scroll down a little bit for me, there are multiple types of questions within our test. These are multiple choice, which grade them automatically. And then there are sometimes short answer questions or fill in the blank questions. This one, is your question, or is your answer reasonable? That would be a short answer question. Whenever we put short answer questions within our assignments, we actually have to go in and grade those manually. So that takes some time, especially with almost 70 students this year. We're working really hard to get caught up on that, because there's a lot of humans that we've got this year. We love them, but that grading is taking just a little bit longer. And so you may see that they don't have a score right away if there is an assignment with a short answer question in it. Because once we go back in though and we give them the points or not for that answer, then their score will show up. So there's a way to see what the assignments they have done and what has been graded, what's been submitted, what has not. And if you go over here on the left-hand side within their course, so you have to be in one of their courses, you can click on grades. I'll get out from in front of the screen, sorry. And it will pull up something that looks similar to this. This one does show percentages for the grades. You may or may not see a total percentage, simply because the district has asked us to make sure Power School is your #1 spot for grades, and so the overall percentages are usually hidden, but they may show up. So if there's some conflicting about that, well, Schoology is showing me they have this percentage, but Power School is showing me this, contact us so that we can get in and let you know which one is the accurate. Usually go with Power School, because that's where the additional grades or assignments that they turn in go. So when you look here, this assignment here, this Unit 4 assessment, there's a score and there's this little puzzle piece icon. That means that they've submitted the assignment and it has been graded. If you see an assignment and there's a little dash next to it, that means they have not done that assignment yet. If there's a little dash with the little puzzle piece next to it, that means they've submitted the assignment, but it still needs to be graded. So when you look under their grades on there, right now, I think the main ones in Schoology that you would be looking for grades would be language skills and reading. I don't believe Mrs. Beck has anything in yet under science or social studies that she put into Schoology to grade.
And there is no math.
And there's none in math. Math is a lot harder to put in Schoology because it's so much paper pencil. And if they put in like you saw on this, for assessment, that answer was, it had an answer and then next to it had the correct answer with 2 different options. If they don't enter the answer exactly the way we put it in the answer key, it counts it wrong. And so with math, if they put in 1200 and we put a comma in it and they don't, or they put a comma in it and we don't, it would count it wrong.
Or like division, if they put 5 remainder 12, or 5 and 12/15.
Yeah.
Depending on how the answer was in there. So
it makes it kind of hard with the math. There are ways, but we just haven't gotten quite to that point yet here at the beginning of the year. And I just lost my train of thought. Sorry.
grades.
So, question,
Yes.
if I am where you are, and maybe you covered this, but if I see my daughter has the puzzle pieces.
Mm-hmm. And there's
So-
just a dash with no
If
grade.
she's missing something,
There's no puzzle.
Yes.
It'll just be a dash.
so she.
So what you need to do is you need to go back up to the top.
Of course. If you receive this message,
I did.
because I know some of you are, and sometimes the kids pop up and it gets weird on them.
I'm not sure which.
Go back and hit the USD Seaman, or the Seaman USD 345, and go back to the home for yours and try to re-navigate
Here.
to wherever it is you're going.
Good.
I don't know why it does that, and the app is super duper duper glitchy. I'm not
Like
it says private access, or it says you can't do this, and there are only certain things you can do within the app. There is enough, especially like when they're doing assignments and responding to discussion posts and things like that. It's pretty simple for them to get in and do all of that, but on the opposite side of actually going in and looking for certain things, it gets kind of glitchy. So if you're having a lot of problems, it says private access only. Try that. Try clicking on the Seaman USD 345. If that does not work, try logging out and logging back in. Sometimes that will work as well. I don't know why it does that. It gets crazy on us sometimes.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please remind me again, when we look at our assignments, and there's literally the word overdue, that I should be reading if there's something that hasn't been turned in that should be?
There should be,
Okay,
yes.
so, yeah, overdue, so yeah.
Mhm.
Now
Yep.
that one, don't worry about that one.
It will actually say overdue, and if you have a question and the kid can't tell you yes or no, was I supposed to do that, please contact us, we'll let you know.
And-
Yes, they do need to do that. We do not require any Schoology assignments to be completed outside of school hours. That is not a requirement. We know that not every student has the same access, and we get that. We give them approximately 3 hours a day, 2.5 to 3 hours, not a day, a week, sorry. About 2 to 3 hours a week to complete, for example, the guided reading activities. They have that time within the class day, built in. The schedules are different between our classes, and this is the first year that we don't have a set guided reading time, extended set guided reading time every single day. So we have to do things a little bit differently. But they should have time in class during the week to finish those assignments.
But they can work on them at home.
Yes.
A
If
couple
they're-
of them have said, we're not allowed to do this at home. Yes, they can, it's just not required.
Yeah, there were some parents that last night that were like, my kid said we couldn't do it at home. Yeah, they don't have to. But if they're at home and you're on and you're looking at it and you tell them, hey, do this assignment, do the assignment. They're able to do the assignment. They're allowed. We're not gonna say, nope, not happening. The only thing is I will get to your questions. The assessments on here, they don't even activate and go live until right before your child's class comes into my room. so that there's no doing it early in the day or whatever. So those won't even show up for them until that time. So, questions? Sorry.
Sorry.
So whenever, I could never get the, my brain's not working, overdue assignments.
Mhm.
So it will show up like in another box below recent
Yes,
grades?
it'll show under recent grades, it'll say overdue, and it'll have some assignments here.
Okay, so it's not technically overdue until Friday after school.
And it's actually set to Friday at like 11:59 p.m.
Okay. And is that then, if they turn it in after that Friday, that's whenever they'll get the highest of 80%?
This quarter, and probably even into next quarter, we have been super duper lenient on late work. As in, we have not been taking off points for late work right now. We want them to get used to the workload and realize you do have all of these assignments. If we give it to you, we expect you to complete it and turn it back in. After Christmas, we're gonna get tough on them because we know after that they're going over here the next year, and those expectations start from day one. And so we give them the first semester basically until Christmas to get used to things, get used to turning things on time. After that, then yes, that will be when we start adjusting scores, because we can go in manually and say they got 10 out of 10 on their assignment. I can go in and I can adjust their score, and I can put a comment of late, and so that it will show up on your end. They got 80% late, but you can still go in and click, and you should be able to look at the assignment and see that. So right now, no. Now you cannot actually get into any of their undone assignments on your end. For them to complete any work at home, they have to log in under themselves with their account. When they log in, that's when they can start working on assignments at home. So you can't get that from your side. Okay. Jim? Nope, sorry, go ahead. Keep going if there was more.
Does it also show when they're logged in as them, overdue assignments?
Sure does. Yep. And we showed them last week, I showed them a day. We went and we talked about, here's what you can see. Here's how you check for your grades. Here's how you'll see if it's overdue. This is the expectation. Just reiterating, because we know they're still learning. And we know it's overwhelming. 5th grade's overwhelming. And I think we talked about that at parent night, of the workload and the expectations from 4th grade are just different. And so it's going to be a lot more. But yeah, they should be able to see, hey look, I've got an overdue assignment. I'm gonna click on that and get that done.
How do you guys like us to contact you if we have questions? Because there's Schoology
Either way.
messaging.
Either way.
and then
Either way.
We'd love to
Okay.
get both.
Yes,
Okay.
Whenever you send us a message through Schoology, it sends us not only the message within Schoology, but it also sends us an email as well.
Okay.
So we get it both places. It's completely up to you.
Okay.
Whatever works best for you. How do you do that? If you click on, of course it's,
We need to go
like,
back to yours.
I'm like trying to click the button. Go back up to the parent account and see. If you click on the envelope
Oh.
and click new message, then you can type type the teacher's name, and then just send us a message. So, yep, definitely. This is how, like, if we've been sending out, like, I know if your child's in my class, I was sending out some messages, the reminders through Schoology, because they're wanting us to send more out through Schoology. So that's how you may get a big message from me of just a general of this. But we have administrative access to each other's classes within Schoology, and so maybe I need to send something out to all of the parents for reading. I sent one out a few weeks ago about the Google assignments, the Google Slides scavenger hunt. I think I sent it to parents. I know I sent it to students, but I think I sent it to parents as well. And so that blast should have come out to everybody. And some of you are looking at me like, no, you didn't, Mrs. Pelfrey. Okay, so I must have sent it to the students and told them time constraints were, we didn't have enough time. I assigned too much the first week of school, and I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. If you didn't get to it, don't worry about it. If you did, awesome extra practice for you. And I just stopped it there, because they were starting to stress, how do I get into this? And parents were starting to stress. So I was like, done, it's gone. Don't worry about it anymore, it doesn't exist anymore. If they're doing assignments in Google, that took me to another place. If they're doing assignments in Google, such as Google Slides or whatever, they have to log in with their student email address. And they all have them. They should know them by now. Enough of them have used it. If they don't, it's their first name and their last name, and then giant at usd345students.com. But they should be logged in under their account. And their password is simply their student ID number with 123 tacked onto the end of it, because it had to be at least 6 characters. And so our tech department was like, hey, 123 at the end of it. Yes?
Is there a way to send them a message through their account or like their email? Can they receive external emails? Like if we want to get on their case
They
about something,
cannot.
Okay.
Their email address is set to where they can only receive email addresses from within the district,
Okay.
just to protect our kids.
Yeah.
And that goes with them. I believe it goes all the way up. I'm not sure what the difference is at the middle school and high school, but I know at the elementary level, it's locked down pretty hard. And we tell the kids it's to keep you safe, and it's to keep, things secure for you. We've been talking a lot about digital citizenship and how to keep yourself safe online. And some of the things that we've heard in the past are terrifying. And so just talking to them about that, but they hardly ever will use their email here at school at the elementary level.
And
So
they may not let them get to high school, it will all be through school.
it may all be through Schoology by that point. All right, what else? Okay, Connect Ed. I think that's our next stop, because that's gonna be a good, do we have more Schoology questions? You guys feeling like your brain's about to explode? No? Okay, yes, I'm sorry. I really apologize. I know how that feels.
So, this is probably
No,
just crazy
no.
question.
It's not.
If we send you a message through Schoology,
Uh-huh.
and we get a response,
Uh-huh.
my husband normally does this. Does he get an email?
You should.
Should I get an email too?
If you're-
Can you
It
do
would
that?
be an email, it would be whatever email address is attached to the account.
Which is
I can
his.
ask and find out, because I think you can add more than one email address to
Okay,
your
that
parent
would
account.
make sense. I mean, that would be good.
Yes.
Because he's gonna, I just sent one to Miss Beck and he's gonna get the response, but.
Mhm.
But if you're in it-
It goes back to Schoology. So the whole interaction will be within Schoology. You can check it all right there. But I believe you get an email that has the message embedded within it.
So if I don't have the email, then I have to
Get into Schoology.
do wherever
Yes.
I am.
You can do
Yeah.
you can do an alternate email.
Okay, I thought you could. So there's another way, yeah.
Okay.
So, and,
It's in
I
your
can-
profile in the settings.
okay,
So
I
if we
can
get an
help you
email,
on that
can we,
side.
maybe she asked this, but can we reply directly to that Schoology email, or do we need to get?
Yeah, there's a link at the bottom.
The actual email,
Yeah, the actual email.
if you reply within the email itself, like if you use Gmail or whatever, and you
Yeah.
reply right within there, I don't believe it sends it back to the
Okay.
Schoology
That's-
account.
that's what I heard.
But there should be a link, and you can click reply to this and click on that, and it'll take you out into Schoology.
Okay.
So, all right, Connected. So this is, as I said, our digital platform for reading and math programs. So in their account, so you can't get to it within your parent account or when you go to their student account. But they have this little grid, which is little 4 squares up here. And when they click on that, it pulls up McGraw-Hill Education, which you don't see it, you cannot see it on your end right now. They actually have to log in under themselves. And that McGraw-Hill Education is our publisher for our textbooks. Within that, theirs looks different. This is the teacher side again. Within that, they can see both their math book and their reading book. If they click on, let's start with the reading first because it's easier. If they click on their reading book, this will be lined up with, right now it's not because I'm off just a little bit with my weeks. We are a interlude here. I forgot to let you guys know. We're not doing Unit 2 week anything until after the end of the quarter. we're gonna start Unit 2 week 1 after the end of the quarter. We started project-based learning in my classroom this week, and it's going so well. And so we are doing project-based learning the rest of this week, well, today, and then all of next week, and we're gonna present on the 16th. And so they will not have any of that until after the quarter. So there probably won't be much in Schoology for a little bit, okay? So when they click on their reading book, it pulls up like this. If they click on the W, it's gonna talk to us.
Words to know.
This is their vocabulary. It will only have the 8 words for the week. This is all of Unit 1 right now. But they can actually click on the words and it will take them out, show them the video. They can click on routine. This gives them the definition of an example, and then if they weren't want to talk about it, that's all there, just as if they wanted to get in and review that. And then I believe if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there may be another home button. Oh, I'm just gonna go back. You gotta back out of it. There's also a speaker, so it'll talk to them as well.
Sorry.
You're
Gotcha.
fine. The book over here
Read.
is how they're going to access their stories that are assigned for the week. They can actually click on these. So if they were to click on One Hen, this was actually from Unit 1, Week 1. This was our story. It was a great little story about a kid who buys a hen and ends up helping his village and his family, and goes on and has like the largest chicken corporation in Africa or whatever. But this pulls up there. This is the main story for the week. This is the story we actually take our selection test on. And so if your kiddo is one who needs to read things multiple times, you could totally get into this. You could even get into it on Monday or Tuesday, and they could pre-read it. And so then when they come to class on Wednesday, Wednesday's our day usually when we read our main story. When they come to class, they already know what's going on. And so then we're at work, they're reading it again, we're asking questions, they're solidifying that information within them. It'll read the whole story to them, or you could just go through and read it yourself.
It's got little icons here.
This is Kojo.
The narrators are kind of meh, but there's some better ones. And it will highlight, as Mrs. Kuzak said, it will
One
highlight
Hen
the words
by
as they
Katie
go.
Smith Milway.
So if you have a student who is a fluency kiddo, who just can't quite read fast enough, and you know that here at school they're in walk to learn groups working on fluency, this is a cool place for them to go, because their eyes have to follow that highlighting through to keep up, and it's a really awesome fluent pace there where they're keeping up, and it keeps them moving forward instead of stopping and going over.
And what's the icon look like to get it to highlight?
It
When
just
you
the
hit
little speaker button.
right here.
You hit the speaker button.
Yeah,
Yep.
it starts reading.
Okay.
So that will be in there as well. Once I get my calendar set, it will show up when we start Unit 2, Week 1. The stories for the week will be in there. That is, it includes our short story that we read in our Reading Writing Workshop book to introduce our topic for the week. It will show our main story from our literature anthology, as well as the story that they're reading in guided reading in small groups with us. And they can even see some extra stuff, like there might sometimes be a Time for Kids article that goes along with the week that they could get in and read as well. But that's all right there for them. So this is a cool resource for them. And then the games, the video games, these aren't actual games, and the kids are always like, these aren't games. They're just reviews is what they are. So if you click on view all games, right now you can't see it because there's no week, right? But over here on, look on this one for me. No, the next one down. Go back.
Games.
Sorry. And then, oh, there you go. So this will pull up, and this will show, click on that second one, please. So this is actually giving them their vocabulary words to use into a sentence. So after opening the vault, we gained what, so blank to what was inside. So if they have to click and drag access up, and then click check.
Good job.
And it gives them these nice little prompts. There are also these little games in for our grammar strategies that we're covering that week as well. So if they're struggling with simple and compound sentences, there's some stuff in there for that as well. Our spelling that we do, we actually use Spelling City for spelling because it just is a better platform, I feel like, for spelling tests. So you will not see a paper spelling test come home ever. We're not doing pre-test this year. We're all doing one list, and if I need to modify for particular students, the parents know about, and we do that differently. Yeah, you can click leave. You can close it. That one. Yeah. No, click leave.
It doesn't like me today.
That's okay, you're teaching us.
It's okay. And, so, okay, look, we're researching. Right up here.
Too many tabs.
I'm a tab person, sorry. The list for their spelling, before you do that, would you go into language, one of the language courses for me? You see that I have a weekly opener posted, or a weekly overview in there as well. And so it's like a PDF document that has their essential question, and it has the concepts and the skills, and it's got the pencil on the side with the spelling words in it. Some of you are nodding like you've seen this maybe. That is giving them just the base, the original 20 words. However, for our spelling matrix, you're fine, which is here. I don't know if you saw that, we flipped really fast. They're fine. The spelling matrix we keep right here. It will always be there. So if they're at home and they're needing to work on spelling assignments, their spelling matrix is right here. They can click on that and open it up and see what assignments they need to do or what activities they have to choose from. We do not require them to print this page out and staple it onto their assignments for the week. We knew that that's a ton of paper. We nixed that. They just need to have their 4 assignments done. We're trying to get better about 1 assignment per side of the page as a way for them to be able to make that look neat. I don't care if they only use 2 sheets, 1 per side, but it just, sometimes we get a little jumbled when I've got 1 assignment here and 1 down here and then 1 this way. They label them usually pretty nicely, but my brain can't keep up with that. So go into week 2 for me, please. So whenever you go into their language, if you actually click on the 1 point whatever spelling PDF, this will show all 25 words for the week because their test will be 25 words. It includes the original 20 plus 3 review words from the previous week and then 2 challenge words using this week's phonics skill that goes along with it. So I tell them, they say, do we have to do all 25 on the spelling? I say, you can do all 25 and it's probably a good idea to do all 25 so that you're practicing those extra words, but you must do at least the original 20. Because I had some that first week, some of them were doing 20, some of them were doing 25. I'm like, you know what? We'll get there. Right now, they must do at least the first 20. They may add on the additional 5. I do not take off points for that. But if they don't do all like the first 20, I will take off like a half a point for being incomplete.
How did you get to that list again? Sorry.
If you go under in language, spelling goes with our language. If you go under the unit, and you can either click on the unit or you can click on the arrow next to it.
Okay.
Click on the week.
Okay.
And then I tried to put it right up there. The very first thing is the spelling list.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sometimes we'll add in a nice little video. Mrs. Beck did this video for us about subjects and predicates. And then the assignments are usually under that. Yeah. So that they can see some extra help.
Find the video? Sorry.
It would be, if there's a video in there, it's within the week assignments for it. So just like it's just gonna be right below the spelling.
Obvious click.
Like,
Well,
if you go into
Yeah,
week
if you
one,
go into unit 1 or unit whatever we're on, and the week that we're on, it should all be in there.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. I'll probably wait until after Christmas, but there will get to a point where the only thing, I'm gonna make it to where they can't see unit 1 after the end of the quarter, because it's last quarter that anything that they do wouldn't count towards this quarter anyway, or next quarter anyway. But it will get to where you'll only be able to see 1 unit and 1 week, whatever it may be. So it might only show week 4, but that will be a way for them to focus on what they're doing and not go, why are there 3 units in here and 5 weeks each and I don't know where we're at. It gives them no question, this one. So that'll probably be after Christmas, we'll probably get to that point. But Unit 1 will disappear at the end of the quarter.
If
So
they have any late work, will that,
they can still do it up until next Friday.
oh, I meant after Christmas, whenever
Mhm.
you take out the ones that they're done with, if they have any late work, will that still, that unit or week or whatever still stay there until they finish? Or is that something that you have to go in and manually do?
That's a really good question. I will find out that
Okay.
because I'm not sure. I'm still not super sure of what all the parents can see on their side.
Mhm.
And honestly, I'm not sure. I guess I haven't paid enough attention to see if at the end of the quarter if it disappears. We'll find out. I'll check and find out and let you know for sure. I'll put that like underneath the video when we post this in Schoology. So, did you want to talk about the math and connected real quick?
Sorry, now, you said again that the Schoology assignments are not homework?
They do not have to do Schoology assignments at home. They may.
So if she brings home her spelling matrix, it's because she just wants to do it at home?
Unless it's Thursday, because they're due on Friday, and then it's, hey, this is due tomorrow, I gotta get it finished. Yes,
But they've had plenty of time during the week.
it should. They
That's-
should.
That's what we
Every
discussed.
class has at least 2 solid hours within the week, plus an additional 20 minutes or 25 minutes every afternoon. And then there's 1 additional day 3 weeks out of the month because we have guidance once a month. And so the week we don't have guidance, we have additional guided reading time. So they may have 3 days of a solid hour each day to work, plus the additional 25 minutes every afternoon to work as well. That just kind of depends on the schedule within the classroom. But yes, they should have plenty of time. I know that I'm trying to streamline it to make it to where they know they can manage their time a little easier. I don't know if you may have noticed on Unit 1 Week 5 checklist, I had it broke up to where I had Mondays assignments, and then I had Tuesdays, and they were divided by a solid line and actually had the day of the week next to it in order to give them some better time management skills. I realized after a conversation with my mom that I don't teach time management, and I needed a way for them to learn it. And so that was kind of a cool like aha moment for me of let's try this and see if we can break it up for them and see if we make it any easier. So we're getting there, but yes, they should, hopefully.
As far as the math, so every math assignment is paper pencil. I guess I'm kind of old-fashioned that I don't feel like we're gonna get the best results on the computer. But there's resources that they can use for math. Same place if you go to the 4 Squares, or if they do, they have to go through their account. They can click here, again, go to McGraw-Hill, and it's gonna pop up in a window. And, come on. And again, they can see their student book here. And when they click on their student book, it'll have the lesson of the day. They can click on the student reference book, so if they bring an assignment home and they don't know how to do it, or they forget how to do it, or if you're looking at it and you're like, that doesn't look right, what are you doing? This student reference book right here is the same one they use in class, and so they can open that. You'd have to go to the very back and find the table of contents, but it's just an ebook that they can pull up that has pretty much everything you'll need for math. If you're looking at converting, ounces to pounds, and you can't remember how many ounces are in a pound, you could find a measurement chart that'll help you convert. It's got the U.S. customary, and it's got the metric in there. It also, EM at home, if they say, I forgot my homework at school, you can go here, and it'll have today's home link, and you can click on it. English or Spanish. However, if you want to start practicing Spanish, there you go. But there's the assignment, and so 2 things you can do. You can have a printer, you can print it off. If you don't, they can just get a piece of paper and write at the top, home link 2.9, question 1, and the answer. I do ask if they're going to do that, if they're working, I mean, they should be working the problem on scratch paper or something, but if it just says problem 1 and 12.
Yeah.
You know, I can't really help you if it's wrong, because I don't know what you were thinking or what you're doing, so I try to tell them, show me your work, show me what you're doing, that way I can see where that mistake is and I can help you. They do not have to write the question. So, but if they, you know, they should be showing their work on the paper and then the answer.
And that's little student reference where it says SRB and there's a little tiny
Right
number in it. That's the student reference book page
Yep.
that you would find assistance for this assignment. And you can print this, these PDFs are great. If it's a math journal page, you cannot print those off anywhere. For some reason, the publishers decided that you can't print math journal pages. I think it's so they could keep selling the workbooks. But you can print the PDFs off as well.
So for the math journals, can they do the same thing on a regular piece of paper at home?
It'll
Yes, but it's kind of hard to see what's on the math journal pages.
Okay.
they're not as,
If they clicked there in the middle, go to with the lesson on it, it will take them to this screen that has all of these different things. And so it just looks different. Like the math box, you can click on it and it's gonna show you the questions, but then you have to scroll through to look at the answer, or the next, each question by clicking the arrow up here. And there's no way to do it digitally and it's submit to us. It's just not the greatest platform. But if they needed to at least see just the problems, they could.
and it
write those
will
down.
read them if you need it read to you.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, click that little arrow right there in the corner.
Math boxes. 2. Make an estimate and solve. A. 312 times.
And then if you click back to the lesson 2.9. Yeah. I'm pointing there like you can see.
I know, and I'm looking at it. It does have the EM Games Online. And these are all math-based games. If they're struggling with a certain skill, or if you just want them to review a skill, the games are a good way to do it. They are all, most of them are set at 5th grade level, but if they have older or younger siblings, they can play with them. The baseball one is baseball multiplication. You know, you roll a dice, they multiply, they get the answer right, they get to move a certain amount of bases.
And the computer one actually gives them strikes. Like it gives them 3 opportunities and then it kicks them out.
But there are, you know, depending on, you know, name that number, high number toss, it's just about, high number toss is kind of cool if they're struggling with place value, because they have to try to find the biggest number with the dice. So there are some fun ones for if they wanted to play with a sibling, but it's kind of a fun way to learn. They don't always feel like they're learning.
They like them, I think.
So that's,
Oh, there's also really cool tutorial videos. So that orange button with tutorial videos. Some of the math that we teach is different than the way we learned it as kids. Partial quotients, different than how we learned it as kids, right? We learned typical long division and it's completely different. If you can scroll through here and you can find these really cool tutorial videos. So you have to go, I think it's like page 100 something. It's on in there a ways for the so here's partial products.
Partial products multiplication.
It gives them a
Think
practice
about
problem.
how you might find the product of 4 and 236. Estimate the product. You can round 236 to 200. 4 times 200 equals 800. Since 236 was
Just walks them
rounded
through the
down,
problem.
the
So
actual
if
product will
they're
be greater than
struggling to
800.
remember, how do I do this?
You
I
can-
can't remember this. I just don't know. You can get in. Or if you guys are helping them and you're like,
I don't know what you're doing.
I've never seen this in my life. Let's see if we can figure it out. You can go into that because it's different. And so this gives you these really cool tutorials with, instead of having to go out and hunt YouTube and whatever, this is actually showing what we're teaching here at school.
And I will
The
tell
process
you,
that the program goes
with
through.
all of our multiplication and our division, I spend most of the time doing the same problem, the traditional way, the way that we all know how to do it, and then the way that the book wants them to do it. Just the book thinks that they might connect different, or it might make more sense. And for some of the kids, it really does make more sense. And so I will do the same problem side by side, that way they can see it. And I even tell them, you know, if you ask your parents for help, you need to at least see what I'm doing on the traditional one, because that's what your parents know how to do. When you start, you know, we start talking about the box method where they can put the numbers in the boxes, and you're like, what are you doing? You know, but once they do it and you do it traditionally, you can see the correlation. But I do show them both ways. I do find it funny that I have one of the classes and they want nothing to do with partial products, partial quotients, they want it all traditional. And I have another class and they all like doing the partial ways. Just for some reason it just makes more sense to them. But I do show them both ways, and I do not require, like the assignment might say solve this problem using partial whatever. I don't require that. I want the right answer, so whatever way works for them, that's what they need to do. But I am showing them both ways, because one way might work on this problem and one way might work on another problem.
Good for you.
So I'm trying to, because I remember when I first started teaching this, I was like, what is this?
Totally telling Kevin that we may have gotten in an argument one day trying to do Sierra's homework. And he's like, will you just go away? And I'm like, okay, I'm fine.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I try to do as much as I can. So if they're having to bring it home, and you're helping them, they should be able to tell you both ways. They may not like one way or the other, but they should know the steps for it. That way, if you are, like I said, they're not looking at you like you're crazy. So this is always here. Same thing with the practice book page. They can't print it, but you can at least pull it up and like, oh, we need to be solving these problems. So my dog ate my homework doesn't work anymore. Did you get that email?
Yes, I did. I was like, that's funny.
Dog ate my laptop.
Yeah, dogs delete assignments. Yes.
So since math doesn't work the greatest, Schoology, missing assignments, will they show up on Schoology?
Power School.
Okay.
Power School.
Power School, yep. So when you go into your Power School, it'll either, and I'm not sure what the parent side of it looks like, after about a week, because like she said, we're not penalizing them right now for late work, but after a week, I'll go through and I'll mark them as missing, and so it'll be a check mark and a 0. And the reason I do that is because when you see a 0, you're gonna be like, hey, there's a 0. And that affects their final grade. If it's blank, it's missing, but you know, it could be, I have a stack of papers and I just haven't graded them yet, so I'm not gonna put that in there. But if it's blank, it doesn't affect their score up or down. It's only when there's a number in that box.
And I think you guys, it shows up, what, like a list view, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you click on it, it'll show up a list of all their assignments. And so it's the same thing, a dash. If it's not entered, I don't think it's just a dash, right? Or maybe a dash with a slash and a dash.
It's two dashes, it looks like 2 dashes
and a slash in between. Okay, yeah, so it'd be nothing out of nothing because there's no score in there yet. But yeah, that would be ultimate place. We're also kind of struggling with writing our name on papers this year. I'm not sure why. I know I have at least 6 assignments hanging on my board right now that are no names that they're just not claiming them.
And they don't want to claim them, which I don't get.
And so we've got assignments that have no names on it, and I don't think that we're ever gonna learn 70 people's handwriting this year. I really don't. And we're trying to tell the kids, guys, there are too many of you for you to not write your name on the paper. We don't know what your handwriting looks like. Too many of your handwriting looks the same. And so we're trying to at least go, okay, these are no names from this class. These are no names from this class. So that whenever, like when Mrs. Kuzak hands back graded assignments to me, we've got here's the stack, and as I'm going back through, I'm pulling out the no names, and I'm like, guys, these are somebody in this room, I promise.
And we'll even read through the list. These 6 people are missing this assignment. So somebody needs to come get it, and they just smile at us like, it's not mine. I'm like, somebody needs to come look. You're 6, like.
And I caught one of them today, never tore it out of a math journal to turn in. Done. Just living in their math journal, never tore it out, turned in. So we're working really hard to round up these missing assignments. I promise you. So did that help alleviate some stress, answer some questions? Yes? Okay. If you need anything, contact us. we're still getting used to having so much parent access. In years past, I've not had hardly any parents in. This year I'm missing a handful. If